Todd Haggerty, I'm Wally Sincero from Stockton, DFW Coach 9593. I'm a bit disappointed that the director couldn't be here from the Stratton VA, but I'd like to make a brief announcement regarding the Stratton. Today, the Veterans and Foreign Wars Service offices open today at the Stratton. So I'm looking forward. I'd like to have as many, make aware of the veterans here that there is an office now at the Stratton VA to handle your claims or questions you have. They waited for the secretary. The secretary got hired on Friday, and so the office opened today. So I'm really proud of that, for the veterans of our wars. I'm proud, and I hope the veterans here take advantage of that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Robin. Any other questions? Any other questions? Sir? Is that a freestanding mic?
Yeah.
Freestanding mic. I go away. Good, thank you.
Name's Tim Boyce. Served in Vietnam, probably the 101st Airborne. And planning on asking questions today. I guess it's for Congressman Gibson. I'm 90% disabled. Physically, I don't look at. I went through a couple of things on the presumptive disease with Agent Orange. I just read I've been following for, since 2007, periodically on the Department of Veterans website. I just read a couple of weeks ago where they're going to put a cap on presumptive disease. Is this true? And why? And I say this for the reason that I got colorectal. I didn't know. Sounds crazy. I didn't know anybody Agent Orange until 2007. That's how I got involved. I thought you're all going to tell me, Senator Joe, going to tell me, until you left Saratoga. But every congressman, senator, I want to writing everyone, acting everyone. I finally got it 6 years later. But they put a cap on this. Now I know it's been 45 years or whatever the case. I got on 68. The IOM every 2 years has a report. The reason I'm asking this, and I've got COPD, bad for dying with like 25 years. Indication, COPD could have been caused through Agent Orange. And every 2 years when they put the report out, it's a little more indicated. Now they're saying no more presumptive disease. So what happens in, say, 4 or 5 years, they decide they put it on presumptive list. They're not going to do it now, they put a cap on it. Now I've got to go through the ground all over again.
Thank you, first of all, Tim. Thanks for your service in the 101st Airborne and in Vietnam. Really proud of that service that you rendered. And we will check into this. First I've heard of in terms of a cap. I'll have my staff check into it. But I also want to tell you that even though I don't represent Saratoga anymore, I'm certainly not going to leave you hanging here. I'll leave you a card, and we can get it started. And I have good relations with Congressman Owens, if you're in that part, or Congressman Todd.
The last one.
Yeah, well, I can certainly make sure that it gets done. So I don't want to, you know,
I don't have to go through the fight that I did before. I will fight.
Yeah. Well, we'll fight with you.
We talked 82nd on the jump. Sorry. You have to keep a sense of humor.
Yeah.
No crazy.
Said he taught the 82nd how to jump. Yeah.
I appreciate everything your office has done.
Yeah.
And Senator Joe Barron.
Yeah.
And all that.
Well, I just gave you a card. We'll continue to work. We can get back to you on that question. And like I said, if there's any further follow-up that needs to be done from a health standpoint, we will make sure that that gets started and can finish it if possible. If not, we'll hand it off to Congressman Owens.
But they still put the cap on there, though. So I'm concerned that just Blue Water Navy.
I'll have to check.
Yeah. So I'm involved in that respect. Too.
Yeah.
They put a cap on there. Those guys are hanging again.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that, so we'll have to check in, and we'll certainly advocate strenuously for you. So thank you, Tim. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Over here.
Right here.
Here comes the mic, I'm sorry.
Good morning. My name is Art. Can you hear me all right?
We can hear you, go ahead.
My name is Arthur Quick. I'm U.S. Navy retired. I did 4 tours in Vietnam for the congressman and this gentleman here. I find that one of the problems of the VA is they only do partial claims. They will give you partial and then go back to it. And this is what is an ongoing thing. My claim happens to be about 4 years and 5 months, okay? And it's still not complete. Due to the VA stumbling around with my claim, okay? This is an ongoing thing. I have ischemic heart disease. I have AFib. I have diabetes related to Agent Orange. I just lost my eye a couple of months ago because of Agent Orange. And because the VA, the way I look at it, this gentleman was saying, well, they'd like to get the other 70%. When anybody goes to a veteran service officer, okay, a lot of times they won't reach across the border to another county or whatever. I happen to be one of the luckiest ones that you probably will ever meet. I have a director called Steve Massey right here, Ulster County Veteran Service Officer, and he's worked with me through my case the last 3+ years. Here, one of the problems is that when your DSO, Veteran Service Officer, okay, when he tries to get a hold of anyone at the Veteran Services or Veterans VA, he has to dial that 1,000 number, okay, the same as everybody else in here. Because of that, he might take days to get an answer or even talk to somebody, okay? This here, what needs to happen is you have approximately 2,000 VSOs, okay, that need to call a different number that they can get directly to the Veterans, okay, Administration. They can't do it. Last year at the stand down, anybody that was here, we had a representative from New York City from Veterans Affairs. I went up, and I was one of the first ones. I asked the lady, I said, listen, I'd like to speak to you about my claim. I'd like to know where it is. She told me she didn't even want to talk to me. This is the problem with the Veterans Affairs, okay? And if you don't want to talk to me, and I'm an ongoing case, what do you do? How do you tell the other people that, hey, listen, come on up here. These people are going to help you, all right? Then the other thing that they talk about is, we just heard it up here, small business. I happen to own a small business. Right now, because of this injury from Agent Orange, I'm a welder, certified welder for 53 years, okay? I lost my business. I mean, it's in the process of being sold now. I went ahead and I lost my CDL because of this. I no longer can drive heavy trucks. When you come to small businesses, going ahead and getting contracts, which people talk about, oh, small business, small business. I went ahead and took my business, set it aside, and I worked for another small contractor. The problem is, whenever you get a state, federal job to do, you have to be bonded in order to do that job. So who's got the bonds? Here you have a bonding company, or in our case, the Indian reservation, okay, that's bonding the job, and they double the price of the job. So the federal government's getting banged that way. The small guy, he's getting banged because they're not going to bond you unless they get 50% of the profit. So the small business has got no chance of getting any of these jobs that we're all talking about, if you're like 10, 15 people in your workforce. It's not gonna happen. This is just a smoke screen.
Thank you very much, appreciate that. Is Captain, would you like to handle that, sir?
First of all, thanks, Mr. Quick. Thank you. 4 tours in Vietnam. That's an incredible thing. You know, I mean, you were way above and beyond, any expectation of duty. I know we've worked with you in the past. We need to continue to work for you and with you going forward on your claim. And I also want to say I listened very carefully to what you just said as far as small business is concerned. I don't know if Eric and I, by the way, we served together a couple of tours in the military, and I appreciate him very much. I appreciate him continuing to stay on point for us. I don't know if there's anything in the legislation that may handle that nuance of this, but as you can see, it's one of the details that really matters as far as whether or not the law will ever live up to its intended goals and intent. Is there anything you want to comment on?
Well, again, thank you for your service as well. What I would say is, we have to give it the opportunity to work. I mean, I make no promises here, I make no guarantees, but it's a program that the governor is behind. It's an initiative that all the state agencies will be behind, and there will be a mechanism to force state agencies, much like with the MWBE programs, where we have to report what percentage of our contracts are going to businesses that are in laws like this. So, I would like to, yes, there will be a lot of nuances. The regulations are being written right now. As I said, OGS will have a division that is responsible for the implementation of this program. But, I think with the governor's backing and all the backing of the state agencies, I think it's got great potential to be a very successful program. And, we are working on it every day as we speak to make sure that this program goes forward as intended, and we'll meet what's in the legislation. So, I don't want to say it's going to be perfect. I think it's going to be, maybe slow off the start, but we will get there.
Yeah, but this is an ongoing thing for, like West Point. I have worked over in West Point with a subcontractor, because when these guys have to put up the bond, they are the contractor. They're the GC. Okay, and I know that they're at least doubling the whatever the profit margin is. If it's $1 million job, they're tacking on $1 million for themselves. That's what they get for being the bond guy. They don't have to do absolutely nothing but the paperwork. That's it. And it's just not fair to the small business. And I told the guy that I worked for, I said, listen, I'm a Vietnam vet. I said, I'm a disabled vet. I says, you can go ahead and maybe put in for something like that. And I said, not only that, I said, I'm a minority also. I'm an American Indian. I says, but, and I own a business. And it doesn't matter. You're going to go and do it the way they want it done, or you're not going to work. That's the way it is. And that poor guy, he's losing. You can't believe how much money. And the government is getting zinged like you can't believe because of the way they have these contracts and everything. But just check West Point for the last couple of years. I see that. I'm talking recently.
So I think the key thing, Eric, is this thing moves towards implementation. That, as you pointed out, there are going to be data points that are collected. The key is whether or not there's going to be credit for where that resides. Because the gentleman makes a great point. If they're allowed to get credit for the subcontracting, then we're not fully achieving the intent. And if the data then collects on who the actual contractor is, then I think we're going to be in a stronger position to make the positive impact that Mr. Quick is mentioning. I think that's the key point as far as the implementation rules is when they collect data on how compliance is going, how they define what gets credit.
I will definitely take that back with me.
Thank you very much, sir. Captain Massey, would you like to make a comment on this, or did you have anything you'd like to say in this? Thank you, sir.
I don't have any questions.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lead Sergeant Captain Flaherty.
Congressman, I just wanted to bring you up to date on something that's been developing on my cases out of the regional office. In the last few weeks, I've had about 6 veterans, all the way from Iraqi veterans to Korean War, Vietnam vets, that are submitting their cases, and the regional office is sending them forms asking them to identify stressors for PTSD, which has been common forever. But now the form is asking our veterans to identify the stressor by what date it happened, what time of the day it was, were there friendly casualties or enemy casualties, and were the casualties killed, wounded. And that's kind of going to the extreme, especially for a Vietnam vet who we're almost half a century back to remember on what day and what time of the day and what type of casualties there were. What?
Sergeant Major, please give me a copy of one of those forms, because I want to get it into the committee so that they can see this, we can get oversight from a congressional standpoint. I'm very, I get your point on that. You know, it's only been, golly, not even a decade in some of my gunfights, but I know exactly what you're talking about there. So, you know, I would like to use that specifics. If you can just get, you can redact anything that's personal, if you can just send to me so I can get it downloaded to the committee.
I'll do that. It has 4 different incidents that they can list on what the casualties were, but what the stressors were. But that's kind of an extreme. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Morning. Thank you, Mr. Gibson. I have this same problem. Like the other vet that I'm a Vietnam vet. And I submitted some paperwork of nightmares, etc., you know, and, well, some poor quality of life. The paperwork came back with what they suggested was normal stress with combat duty, period. And it ended there. And I'm just curious that the board decided, they decided it was normal combat duty. I mean, I did my tour, and that was my final answer. So before I leave, I'd like to get a card.
You bet.
Give you the paperwork.
Yeah, and you know, in addition to, thank you for your service, and I'll tell you, in addition to a robust set of volunteers, you know, we hire. I lost the last count, but we have like 7 veterans on our staff, so we have guys that have been through what you've been through, and they'll fight for you. So, you know, George Christian here is a retired non-commissioned officer and works a lot of our cases, and so we'll make sure we make that. And I want to make that comment broadly to anyone here. We do have caseworkers here in the auditorium, so we can open up a case today for you and continue to work it. I'll just say this, that you know, I alluded to in my remarks. I talked about how I think we need to think and act differently, you know, and then do whole national security establishment reform, and we'll be safer for less money. You know, I have a bill that changes the way our country goes to war. It requires that the American people get a voice before we get a vote in the Congress before our troops are sent off into harm's way, into combat or into the threat of combat. I believe that's what the intenders, or the founders intended for our country. But particularly since the advent of the nuclear age, we've consolidated war powers into the executive branch, and presidents from both political parties have taken us off to war without the consent of the government. So occasionally, you know, when I'm working these veterans issues, occasionally I'll get pushback. Somebody say, well, that's going to cost a lot of money. And you know what I say to them? I say, then, you know, first of all, you need to be with these troopers and their families all the way. And this is going to be, for this war that we're in, this is going to be a 5-decade involvement. And for Vietnam, obviously, we're going to take this all the way in. I mean, it's going to be, we've got hopefully several more decades or more to go. We want to be with you all the way. But you know, I say to my colleagues that give me a little bit of pushback, say, well, first of all, you need to be with us. Second of all, I got a bill for you. You need to be on this War Powers Reform Act then. You know, because we have been too quick to use force, and then we'll forget about that over time as a people. And we cannot do that. So we'll send you, we'll work this case today. Thank you.
Thank you. Pardon me?
I had a vet come to me, personal friend with PTSD issues, and I was under the understanding in 2010 they had relaxed the qualifications of PTSD. So I wrote to MVLSP to Rick Spataro. He sent me the ruling. It clearly shows exactly what you're looking for, and if I could share that with you, you could send that on. There is some changes in that PTSD that a lot of, I think, regional offices are not aware of. Okay, and I'll share it with you.
Thank you, Susie. Any other questions? Okay, I'd just like to tell you all that this is... Yes, sir.
Just to build up on what she said, yes, back in 2010 when they're relaxing the PTSD, what they're looking for is if you have the right medal, you show where you were stationed at and everything, that's all you need. The form that he's talking about, the 0781, the PTSD stressor form, is if you don't have nothing in your record that shows you in the combat zone, that's when they ask for that form. But if you have the right medal, you show in your orders it shows you were stationed there and everything like that, there's nothing else to prove but have the diagnosis for the PTSD.
Thank you, Nelson. And by the way, that's Nelson Rivera, lives in Ulster County, but actually is the Dutchess County Veteran Service Officer. And we have some other veteran service officers that are very important to this process, as Colonel Hess mentioned. Captain Massey is here. He is just raised his hand. He's the Veteran Service Officer for Ulster County. I saw John Crotty. Could you raise your hand, John? John Crotty is the Veteran Service Officer from Sullivan County. And do we have any other? Great.
Sam Hall.
Sam Hall is here, up from, he's actually from Washington County. Although out of our congressional district, somebody who doesn't see any boundaries when it comes to helping veterans. And, yes ma'am, Columbia County? Who else raised me? Oh, Gary Flaherty's from Columbia County, and he's somebody who's integrally involved in all these activities.
Sam Hall is actually the president of the New York State PSO Association.
Thank you for that leadership.
Mr. Foote, would you like to say something?
Yeah, Ned Foote is here, our Vietnam Veterans Association's president for New York State, and we thank him for that leadership.
I'm good.
Thank you.
All right, well, I think we're going to wrap it up here, but I will stand by. I have, I'll stand by for any individual questions, and I think Colonel Hesse, hopefully he'll do the same. Let me just say this, that, you know, look, I mean, this is going to be a challenge going forward. I don't want to give you any other impression other than that we have to work together on this issue, and that when we end up with a disappointment in a rendering from the VA, that doesn't mean it's the end of the story. We can appeal judgments, we can continue to weigh in. So I think what we need to do is just sustain our resolve to work together, to be there for our veterans and their families all the way through. And then also, I think, keep faith with our country, keep faith with our servicemen and women who have stepped forward for us now, and hopefully steer a process where we can have a long period of peace as we go forward. So God bless each and every one of you. I want to thank the Honor Guard too. Thank you very much for being here and with such precision and honor. Thank you for that. And again, I will stand by after. Jim, thank you very much for what you do every day, and also for helping pull this together. And then finally, once again, thank you to SUNY Ulster. God bless you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.